In Colombia, President Gustavo Petro denounced an institutional rupture to remove him from power. And Palestine-Israel's genocide operation against Gaza continues on its 122nd day. Occupation forces continue shelling the region, especially the city of Deir al-Balah and Khan Yunis. And in Chile, the death toll after raging wildfires in Valparaiso rose to 112. Over 40,000 people have so far been affected by the fires. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the TeleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. The president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, denounced an institutional rupture to remove him from power. The declarations of the head of state come in the midst of a political confrontation with the Attorney General, Francisco Barbosa, accused of violating the law and disguising a coup d'etat under an institutional cloak. Petro's statements come after the Attorney General's office raided the headquarters of the Colombian Federation of Educators to look for alleged irregularities in the financing of his electoral campaign. In this regard, the Colombian Federation of Educators announced protests in defense of the federation, democracy and the social rule of law, and in rejection of the stigmatization and persecution of the union. In El Salvador, candidate for re-election Nayib Bukele claimed victory in Sunday's elections with only 31.49% of the votes counted. As of 6:30 a.m. on Monday morning local time, the Supreme Electoral Tribunal had not updated the tally since 10:01 p.m. Sunday night local time. In a statement, the electoral authorities recognized difficulties in the delivery of results attributed to a lack of security and factors outside the institution, reported by prosecutors and members of the municipal and departmental electoral boards. As president, Bukele is questioned for intervening in the autonomous powers of the state, which allow him to run in an unconstitutional manner in Sunday's election.
Never before has a project won with the amount of votes that we have won this day. It is literally the highest percentage of all history. It is the largest difference between first and second place in history. And not only have we won the President of the Republic for the second time, with more than 85% of the votes, but we have also won the Legislative Assembly with 58 of 60 deputies.
The candidate for the New Ideas Party also boasted that the opposition would be crushed.
It will be the first time that in the country there is a single party. In a fully democratic system, the opposition as a whole was crushed. El Salvador has made history again this day.
And El Salvador's election day was marked by multiple complaints, among them the arrest of Salvadoran writer Carlos Bucio. The National Civil Police arrested him at the voting center Concha Viuda de Escalon for reading aloud articles of the current Constitution of the Republic that prohibit presidential re-election. The officers, after surrounding him and before the claims of those who defended free speech, proceeded to arrest him. Different national and international organizations are calling for his release and demand the implementation of international assistance protocols.
Brothers of the National Civil Police, as comrades, I tell you not to repress the Salvadoran people and to respect the Salvadoran Constitution in force. This day, a new dictatorship is consolidated in El Salvador.
In Haiti, various political, social, and cultural organizations begin a day of protest this Monday asking for the resignation of Prime Minister Henry. The opposition party, called Committed to Development, is one of the organizations at the head of the call and assures that the premier has shown total incompetence to solve the crisis affecting the country and must therefore go. This request also marks Monday's gathering in front of the government headquarters in Port-au-Prince, the capital. Since January 29th, the country has been organizing protests in rejection of a government which, they say, has allowed itself to be manipulated by the United States amid an increase in security crisis, with paramilitary groups controlling large parts of the capital and thousands of Haitians internally displaced. The Guatemalan Migration Institute reported that 11 people were killed in a traffic accident on Saturday. 9 people died at the scene at kilometer 133 of the route leading from Guatemala City to the Pacific coast, while 2 people died in a health center. According to IGM, 9 of the deceased were Cubans and were traveling north to reach the United States. The accident happened in the early hours of Saturday morning and involved a truck carrying sugarcane, a car with over 5 passengers, and a motorcycle. Guatemala initiated the process of communication so that the deceased could be repatriated by the Cuban authorities. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back from the south. This Monday, Palestine completes 122 days under siege of Israel. In the morning, the occupying forces shelled several regions of Gaza, especially the city of Deir al-Balah and Khan Yunis. According to local media, the different neighborhoods of the town of Khan Yunis and the southern part of the Gaza Strip leading to the city of Rafah are under constant Israeli artillery attacks. At the same time, Al-Amal and Kamal Nasser hospitals continue to be under siege by the Zionist forces, while drones open fire on Palestinians. Likewise, the Nusayrat camp in the city of Al-Balah was also targeted by the Tel Aviv attacks. Since October 7, the death toll has risen to more than 27,365, most of whom are women and children. The World Health Organization announced that at least 130 Palestinians have died in the latest Israeli attacks in Gaza, bringing the death toll to more than 27,400. Our TeleSUR correspondent Nur Harasin with the details.
122 days, and according to the Palestinian Health Ministry, 113 Palestinians were killed in Gaza during the past 24 hours, and this brings up the death toll here in the Gaza Strip since the 7th of October up to 27,400 people killed. 70% of them are women and children. In some highlights, 30 of the people who were killed in Gaza today were killed in Deir al-Balah, which is supposed to be a green area. However, Israel intensified their attacks on Deir al-Balah, killing 30 people, including women and children. At the same time, talking about the humanitarian situation here in Gaza, the World Health Organization said that around 1,000 people who were injured in Gaza managed to leave the coastal enclave to get treatment outside of Gaza and other countries like Egypt, Qatar, Jordan, Turkey, and other countries. However, talking realistically about this, there is more than 66,000 Palestinians who were injured in Gaza since the 7th of October. 1,000 of them is actually 2%, around 2%. This is not enough for the Palestinian people. This is not enough for the doctors here in Gaza to take off some of the responsibility off their shoulders. Over the past months, actually, doctors in Gaza have been calling upon Egypt and the international community to pressure Egypt into fully opening the Rafah border to allow more of the people who get injured to get treatment outside of Gaza. Nur Harazin, TeleSUR, Gaza.
Egypt's government threatened to suspend the normalization agreement with Israel over Tel Aviv's insistence on displacing Palestinians to the Sinai Peninsula. The Egyptian authorities expressed their firm opposition to the extension of the conflict, fearing a massive migration to Sinai. Around 1.4 million of the 2.2 million civilians in the Gaza Strip are currently refugees in the southern Rafah region, and given the ongoing Israeli attacks, their only option would be escaping towards bordering Egypt. According to experts, this Israeli military action can be considered as a violation of the peace treaty that was signed with Egypt in 1979, and the rupture of ties could affect Israel's relations with the Arab world as a whole. The Palestinian Foreign Ministry requested the U.S. administration to impose sanctions on Israel's Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir, who called for the expulsion of Palestinians from the Gaza Strip. The request for sanctions was made through a statement which condemned the Israeli minister's statements as threatening, colonialist and racist, which represent a blatant incitement to the complete annihilation of the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip. The Palestinian Foreign Affairs Ministry says such statements by an Israeli minister go against the consensus of the international community, the ruling of the International Court of Justice, and against the resolutions of the UN Security Council. On Sunday in Yemen, United States and United Kingdom Air Forces launched at least 48 attacks against 6 provinces of the country. In this sense, the spokesman for the Ansar Allah movement, Yahya Sari, declared that 13 attacks were launched against Sana'a, the capital of the country, 11 against the province of Taiz, 9 against the region of Al-Hudaida, and another 7 bombings against the provinces of Al-Baida and Hajaz. Since mid-January, the United States has ordered several rounds of strikes against Ansar Allah targets in Yemen, some in coordination with the United Kingdom and other allies. While the Ansar Allah movement's senior officials maintain that Washington and its allies' aggression will not deter them from attacking Israeli-linked vessels as they continue their genocidal actions against the Gaza Strip. The Iraqi Popular Mobilization Forces condemned the U.S. aggressions on the west of the Anbar district and confirmed that such actions would not go unpunished. Iraqi Popular Mobilization Forces Chief Faleh Al-Fayad described the U.S. aggression against the Aqsad and Al-Qaim regions as a direct attack on the position and dignity of the nation, and urged the Iraqi parliament and all political forces to take a clear position regarding this action. Al-Fayad said he would not accept the blood of the Iraqi people turned cheap political currency, and he said Washington's aggression would not go unanswered. The Iraqi official denounced the United States' manipulation of the issue of terrorism and demanded the immediate withdrawal of U.S. troops from Iraq. On this note, Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani visited the Al-Hussein military hospital in Baghdad to see the wounded of the U.S. attack west of the country. He wished them a speedy recovery and ordered the hospital staff to provide them with all necessary care and treatments. We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience, you can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with TeleSUR. Found your break, don't go away. Welcome back from the South. Spanish farmers increased protest actions to demand flexibility in the European Union's agricultural policies. Spain's agricultural sector unions announced that they will extend their demonstrations on the streets of several provinces of the country to request changes in environmental regulations and greater flexibility in the agricultural policy of the bloc in order to face the drought affecting the country. Among the provinces expected to join the protest actions are La Rioja, Zaragoza, Murcia, Albacete, and Catalonia. Organizations expect that representatives of the fishing sector and transport organizations will join this week's mobilizations. In France, Parisians voted on Sunday whether to take SUV cars off the streets of the capital by making them much more expensive to park. This is the latest stage in a campaign by Socialist Mayor Anne Hidalgo to make the whole city of this year's Olympics greener and friendlier to pedestrians and cyclists. Hidalgo is seeking voter backing for a proposal which seeks to triple parking fees for SUV drivers. The mayor's office wants to increase the price of parking passes for cars that weigh more than 1.6 tons and that do not have a special license from local authorities. A 6-hour stay with an SUV car, enough to see a show or go to a restaurant, would cost 225 euros, about $243 compared to 75 euros for smaller vehicles. Namibia's Vice President Nangolo Bumba is sworn in as president following the death on Sunday of previous President Hage Geingob, a veteran of the country's liberation struggle who died at the age of 82 on Sunday. Tributes to the 82-year-old statesman poured in from African leaders who saw him as a hero of the anti-apartheid struggle. Recently, Geingob supported South Africa's complaint against Israel under the Genocide Convention and condemned Namibia's former colonial ruler Germany for opposing the case. Serving his second term as president, he revealed last month that he was being treated for cancer. Former Vice President Nangolo Bumba was inaugurated as Geingob's successor as president on Sunday, along with new Vice President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah.
During this difficult period of mourning, I urge all Namibians to remain united and to keep the bereaved family, the bereaved Geingob family and clan in our prayers. I take on this heavy mantle, cognizant of the weight of this responsibility, to serve all people of Namibia with utmost dedication and commitment in the service of all citizens.
On Monday morning, the last report of the Disaster Risk Management Committee of Chile accounted for 112 dead victims by the forest fires in Valparaiso. The wildfire affected more than 40,000 people, 3,000 residences, and more than 11,000 land hectares. This tragedy has been qualified by the President Gabriel Boric as the biggest since the 2010 earthquake. According to the Interior Undersecretary Manuel Monsalve, 200 people are still in the missing persons report. On the bright side of the situation that has affected this region, 100 kilometers from the country's capital city, it's that the weather conditions change for good, with a decrease of the temperatures which would ease the fire extinction works.
We must say that according to the information we have from the Forestnik Medical Service, as of 8 p.m. today, there are 112 people dead. This is the current count, and 32 bodies have been identified. 165 fires were counted on Sunday, February 4th. 19 are under observation, 40 fires are being battled, 102 fires are under control, and 4 are extinguished in different regions of the country.
In California, in the western region of the United States, an emergency has been declared this Sunday in 8 counties, including Los Angeles, due to the winter storm. The governor, Gavin Newsom, issued the executive order, which includes Orange, Riverside, San Bernardino, and San Diego counties, among others, in addition to Los Angeles. The deployment of resources and the use of the National Guard forecast. The winter storm threatens record rain and snowfall, including winds of up to 60 miles per hour. Several cities in Ventura County have been evacuated due to the risk of flooding. For their safety, Los Angeles authorities have asked residents, if possible, to stay out of their cars and prepare for some of the worst weather days in living memory. We have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.